One more dime inside and Sty finishes it off. That is assist number 8 for Clark. Long before she ever set foot on a professional court, before the stadiums were bursting at the seams, Caitlin Clark had already achieved the unthinkable. She had conquered the advertising world. While still rocking a college jersey, the biggest heavyweights in America were brawling to slap her face on their gear. You had State Farm, Nike, Wilson, Gatorade, a whole village backing her up every inch of the journey. State Farm is honored to protect greatness. So how exactly did she pull this off? What was the secret she grasped that everyone else missed? She refused to wait until the pros to make her mark. She exploded into a commercial icon right out of the gate, shredding the old playbook on athlete sponsorships for good. Here is the tale of a solitary young woman who flipped the corporate script and left every major brand scrambling to catch up to her vision. Just a kid from the Corn State? To get how Caitlin Clark took over Madison Avenue, you have to dig into her roots. Forget the box scores or the reels, look at the narrative. Because that narrative unlocked the universe for her. Picture a teenager in Des Moines with a shot that ignored physics and dreams that ignored reality. She was pulling the trigger from distances that would make most coaches bench a player immediately, and she was draining them time after time, with a swagger that seemed reckless until you saw the truth. It was pure conviction. She was privy to a secret the rest of us were blind to. She knew the ball's destination before she even released it. But here's the kicker for our story. Caitlin Clark was not just a hooper. She represented a vibe. She spoke openly about being that small-town kid with massive, oversized dreams. Back at the beginning in Iowa, Caitlin Clark's only shot at the game was running with the boys' squad. She spoke about the impossible and dragging it into the real world. She preached about the grind, about skipping senior prom and not giving a damn because her destiny was calling. This wasn't some PR firm scripting her lines. This wasn't media coaching. This was raw honesty. A visionary who out-hustled the planet to manifest that vision. That genuine persona of grit and faith became the bedrock for everything else. Companies weren't just signing a point guard, they were investing in a legend. And authentic legends sell way better than a 30-second highlight clip. The State Farm upset. The first piece fell in a direction nobody saw coming. An insurance firm, not a shoe giant, not a jersey maker, not a soda brand, was the first titan to spot the Caitlin Clark factor. They inked the deal while she was still an undergrad. They launched her nationwide. They crowned her the premier NCAA athlete, guy or girl, in the modern era of hoops. While she was shattering the Division I scoring record, she became the first to ever star in a campaign of that magnitude. Consider the gamble involved. She hadn't proven a thing in the big leagues yet, no pro rings on her fingers. She was officially an amateur, operating under college regulations that had only just started letting kids cash in on their fame. The whole NIL scene was uncharted waters, a complete mystery. It was the Wild West of marketing, where nobody had a clue what was gold and what was dust. Most brands were tiptoeing around, signing tiny local contracts, scared to dive in. State Farm stared that uncertainty in the face and said, "Forget the danger. We are looking at a once-in-a-lifetime shot." The genius wasn't just in the contract, it was in the delivery. Most sports ads are painfully wooden. The athlete freezes up, reads a cue card, flashes a product, and we all act like it isn't totally awkward. Caitlin flipped the script. She was witty, she was sarcastic, she was effortlessly real. The shoot, the hoop sketch, became legendary. Her dry reactions felt like your buddy cracking a joke, not a superstar reciting lines. She didn't perform, she just lived. And the camera absolutely adored her for it. Then came the spark that turned an ad into a cultural earthquake. With that logo line, State Farm made more than a commercial. They birthed a mantra. Fans started copying it online. Kids edited it into their highlight reels. Continue elevating the women's game. Every child dreams of being in her shoes. She is absolutely. It exploded across platforms with a virality that marketing teams burn millions trying to mimic, and almost never actually pull off. That was the instant big business knew this wasn't your average jock. They had stumbled upon a marketing cheat code. A force who could take a 30-second spot and spark a revolution without breaking a sweat. The swoosh played the long game. 27 years, that is how long Nike stayed off the Super Bowl roster, dropping a nationwide spot right at kickoff. Man, this is next level stuff. Tonight, Rebecca Petit breaks it down. Almost 3 decades of radio silence on the planet's loudest marketing platform. This is the ultimate proving ground for corporate giants. A single 30-second window burns through more cash than most businesses see in a fiscal year. The pressure is crushing enough to keep ad execs tossing and turning for months before kickoff. So when the sportswear titan finally stepped back into the ring, the world was their oyster. They had their pick of seasoned legends with mile-long resumes and bulletproof marketing histories. Any international icon, instantly recognizable from New York to Tokyo, was within their reach. Safe bets were everywhere, faces that have moved units reliably for years. A guaranteed cash cow to justify the massive check they were writing. Instead, they bet the house on a 22-year-old kid from Iowa with 0 pro minutes. That tells you the sheer magnitude of the Caitlin Clark phenomenon. Playing it safe wasn't the play. Being predictable wasn't on the menu. They chased pure energy. They wanted a cultural tidal wave. Check out Caitlin Clark's fresh logo as the newest face of the swoosh. It required a star heavy enough to anchor a Super Bowl comeback, turning a commercial break into a history-making moment. That crowd is the holy grail of marketing, but they have the attention span of a gnat. You are hitting viewers with fireworks every 5 seconds. Most spots fade from memory before the next quarter starts. They needed a razor to slice through the chaos, commanding eyeballs with grit, not just budget. They scanned every roster in every league across the American sports landscape and realized only one name fit the bill, Caitlin Clark. But the spot itself? Surprisingly stripped back. Zero pyrotechnics, no Hollywood cameos, no CGI nonsense, just a raw, grounded homage to a kid turning into a legend. Caitlin opened up about the costs. She mentioned skipping her own prom. She spoke on burning ambition and boundless dreams, managing to look human and heroic all at once. It was a stark reminder that beneath the viral clips and media storm lives a grinder who earned every inch. Nike got it. Her realness is the selling point. No need to fabricate a persona. Just point the lens at the character she already forged. Gatorade flipped the script on products too. Usually, these sponsorship deals are painfully by the book. Slap a face on a highway billboard and call it a day. Hold the drink, read the script, cash the check. It is cold and purely business. But Gatorade went a different route with Clark. They didn't just rent her smile. They mined her brain. They engineered a recovery system specifically tailored to her grind. Not some off-the-shelf plastic with a logo sticker. This was built from scratch to match her prep and recovery. The market reaction was instant hysteria. Inventory evaporated in days, not weeks. Days. It is simple logic. Fans didn't want a souvenir. They craved a piece of her reality, a chance to hold the same gear that fuels her rise. GameBridge, dishing out the ultimate assist for your bank account. Since joining forces, Gatorade figured out what the other giants already knew. Caitlin Clark's truth is the brand. If the gear mirrors her vibe, her sweat, and her path, it flies off the shelves. If it smells fake or corporate, the buyers will sniff it out in a heartbeat. Winning brands let Caitlin be Caitlin instead of forcing her into a marketing box. Enter Wilson and the creator blueprint. Then, a contract dropped that completely rewrote the rules of engagement. We're talking Wilson, the undisputed king of leather for the NBA and WNBA. Basketball prodigy Caitlin Clark locked in a multi-year pact with the official ball supplier of the pros. This heritage brand, stitching leather since before these players were born, didn't want another mouthpiece. They weren't looking for a smile and wave prop. They brought her on as a legitimate partner. She became the first woman in history to sit at the design table for a Wilson signature line. This wasn't just an endorsement deal. This wasn't just a standard partnership between a corporate titan and a prodigy. It was a meeting of minds that viewed her input as vital for evolution. That difference changes absolutely everything. A typical sponsorship screams, "Let us plaster your face on our gear, make you an ambassador, and push a few new product lines." True collaboration whispers, "Give us your brain, your vision, and let your genius shape the very architecture of our design." Wilson was signaling to the world that Caitlin Clark was far more than a billboard in a jersey. She was an intellectual force on the court. Her grasp of the mechanics was so profound it could revolutionize their gear, prompting them to hand over the keys just to tap into that brilliance. Never before had a giant in the industry placed such faith in a woman's hands. Caitlin stood alone as the pioneer. When the campaign dropped, the visual storytelling shattered every convention known to the genre. Naturally, the stakes were sky high for such a reveal, and Nike stepped up to the plate with absolute perfection. Silence reigned. It was deep, reflective, refusing to scream for eyeballs like the rest, just the squeak of sneakers on the floor. The lonely echo of a dribble in a vacant hole, a long-range bomb splitting the nylon with a satisfying snap. This wasn't commerce. It was pure emotion. That solitary intimacy between a player and their obsession. The pre-dawn grind in the shadows. The trance-like state born from thousands of reps and unyielding commitment. That spot served as a romantic ode to the game, casting Caitlin not as a salesperson, but as the protector of the sport's very spirit. The company grasped a deep truth regarding her magnetism. Her fame isn't merely a byproduct of skill. It thrives because her passion mirrors the heartbeat of every fanatic in the stands. She balls with delight. She erupts with feeling. Her competitive fire burns with a personal vendetta rather than a corporate paycheck. By elevating her to architect, the brand admitted she is far more than a mere figurehead for the league. She is the living incarnation of it. That visceral bond outweighs any standard contract written in ink and dollars. Critics often overlook a triad of factors when analyzing her tyrannical reign over the market. Forget fortune. Forget the era. It goes way beyond simply putting the ball in the hoop. She holds a holy trinity of traits that marketers hallucinate about, yet rarely find in one human. Number 1. She belongs on film. Zero fabrication. No hammy acting. She isn't straining to be comedic, charismatic, or your best friend. She just breathes while the camera rolls. And that raw truth burns right through the display. Her rhythm for humor is as automatic as her release. Right flank. Okay, loop back to your sweet spot one more time. A defender in her grill changes nothing. She understands the silence, the reaction, the space needed for a scene to land. Typical players need hand-holding through every single frame of production. Caitlin simply arrives and dominates. The second pillar is her epic saga. The tale of massive ambition, grinding labor, total sacrifice, and sparking the youth is timeless. It goes beyond the hardwood. I adore Caitlin. I'm a baller too. It's just awesome seeing the masses finally lock in and actually respect the women's game. It leaps over the boundaries of athletics completely. Anybody who has ever starved for a dream and bled for it sees their own reflection in her path. That heartstring connection turns a skip-able ad into a memory. Consumers forget the merchandise, but they never forget the vibe. And Caitlin forces the world to feel. The final key is cultural momentum. She makes a move, and the crowd mimics it. They remix it. They broadcast it. It morphs into internet gold, viral cuts, and waves that flood timelines with zero marketing dollars behind them. Companies burn billions chasing that lightning in a bottle and usually strike out. Caitlin sparks it organically, without breaking a sweat, just by existing. There lies the gap between a player moving units and the legend manufacturing history. Gear collects dust by tomorrow. History defines the generation. The history maker. Let's not mince words about her commercial conquests, because the ceilings she has shattered are mind-blowing. Any single one of them would define a lifetime's work. Combined, they signify a total paradigm shift in how the business calculates a star's worth. She stood as the first NCAA athlete, man or woman, to star in a nationwide State Farm campaign. Let that sink in. That insurance giant has been airing sports spots for generations. The swoosh has backed the greatest icons to ever play the game. Yet they handpicked a university student to shatter the glass ceiling. Ending a 27-year hiatus, she stood as the first female face of Nike's Super Bowl comeback. Top draft choice Caitlin Clark, with her professional opener just 10 days out. Yet, prior to stepping onto the hardwood as a pro, she had already locked down a massive agreement with the athletic giant. Out of 8 billion people, the brand selected her. Simultaneously, she broke barriers as the inaugural craftswoman of a signature series with Wilson. A manufacturer defining the sport for almost 100 years concluded that a 22-year-old could school them on their own equipment. Gatorade crowned her their pioneer athlete for a recovery line engineered specifically around her personal workout regimen. We are not talking about a standard sponsorship. This is bespoke product creation. These are not baby steps or minor victories. We are witnessing a complete metamorphosis of the industry. Every contract signifies a corporation venturing into uncharted territory. Convinced by Caitlin Clark that the gamble would pay off in spades. With every signature, televised spot, and merchandise drop, she is single-handedly propelling the terrain of female athletics into a new era. Now, check this out. She is elevating the profile of the WNBA in a manner that decades of conventional advertising failed to accomplish. She offers a blueprint for tomorrow's superstars, tangible evidence that such heights are reachable if you possess the raw skill and genuine character to demand it. She is demonstrating to the boardrooms of the nation that pouring capital into female athletics is neither a donation nor a strategic PR stunt meant to signal virtue. It is intelligent investing. It is lucrative. It is the type of commerce that sparks cultural phenomena and fuels real connection with buyers. The shockwaves of her triumph will reverberate through the sector for generations to come. Any sportswoman inking a blockbuster contract over the next 20 years will be indebted to the trail blazed by Caitlin Clark. She never asked for a green light, nor did she pause for the establishment to determine her readiness. She arrived, dominated completely, and compelled the marketplace to bend to her will instead of conforming to theirs. Where do we go from here? Following the giants like Nike and State Farm, the query burning in every ad executive's mind is straightforward. Is there any ground left to take? The response ought to send shivers down her rivals' spines while thrilling her fanbase. The world. Absolutely everything remains. Caitlin Clark recognizes no limits. She refuses to be confined to the tight silo usually reserved for jocks. Old school logic dictates hoopers only push kicks, hydration, and jerseys. That is the standard operating procedure. That is the language the business world speaks. However, Caitlin Clark has established she shreds the instruction manual. She authors her own. Her magnetism is so vast, so real, and so culturally potent that it leaps over the boundaries of any specific industry vertical. She could market high-end lifestyle goods to rising executives who view her as the ultimate emblem of drive. She is poised to ally with tech titans seeking a figurehead for radical innovation and bold courage. She could front campaigns for banking giants aiming at a demographic craving reflection in their commercial icons. She has the gravity to lead streaming epics and docuseries, transforming her biography into blockbuster entertainment far beyond the paint. The corporations hovering today are not merely athletic suppliers. Silicon Valley giants like Apple and Amazon are paying attention. Netflix is lurking. Wall Street heavyweights, haute couture labels, startups seeking legitimacy, and studios starving for material that resonates with Gen Z. Everyone is analyzing the secret that State Farm and the swoosh grasped from the jump. Caitlin Clark is more than a jersey sponsor's dream. She's a conduit to a demographic that legacy marketing simply cannot touch. The sole mysteries left involve who strikes next, how revolutionary the contract terms will appear, and if the competition can evolve quickly enough to stay in the race. Whoever secures her signature is not merely hiring a player. They are purchasing a golden ticket to the evolution of American branding. Prior to lacing up for a pro game, before the stadiums packed out with historic attendance, Caitlin Clark achieved the unthinkable. She conquered the commercial sector while still a student, rocking Iowa colors. The nation's corporate titans were battling to plaster her image across their inventory, everyone from insurance moguls to hydration experts. How exactly did she flip the script on sponsorship norms before ever declaring pro status? Furthermore, what secrets of cultural leverage and influence did she grasp that the sporting establishment completely overlooked? She refused to wait for validation on the hardwood. Instead, she exploded as a brand powerhouse first, permanently altering the endorsement landscape. Here is the tale of how a singular talent from the Hawkeye State compelled the business world to race toward her horizon, and this is why the entire industry is scrambling to decode the vision she captured way ahead of the curve.